It is 9:30 p.m. and let's play a little game called How Long Does It Take Me to Get This Dana 70 out of the Bumpside crew cab. So I've done a little bit of prep work already, removed the parking brake cables as well as the brake line going down to the axle, and put some WD-40 on the bolts. Did realize that one of the nuts for the shackle is completely caked with mud. Can't even see it. So the WD-40 I sprayed in that general area did nothing. So we'll see how that goes. I've already got this thing on jack stands in the rear, which are not high enough to really support the whole weight of the truck. The tires are still touching the ground. So wish me luck. I'm gonna try to get this axle out of here. One more step closer to making this thing full-wheel drive, as I've done the full-wheel drive front axle install in my last video. I finished that up. Been working on that for a while. New bracket bolted into the frame, and then a bracket bolted onto the frame there. And then you can see the leaf springs, Dana 44, disc brake, HD axle here. And I still got to figure out steering. So anyway, let's get to work on this rear axle, see how it goes. I probably should have put something on the ground to catch this, but I'll just sweep it up. Hour and a half later, I'm calling it a night. It's about 11 o'clock. I got these two nuts off the rear shackles. You can see that fought me pretty good, not too bad, but those front ones where it had all that dirt in there, got the one cleaned out, kind of gave up on it, went to the back one, went over to the other side, it's full of dirt too. But the biggest issue was I needed to get the wrench in from the top, and the bed is in the way. Now this bed's never been attached to this thing since I got it. That's why it's whole ketchup and mustard. The bed does not match. It's a red bed on a yellow truck. It's been sitting here held down with ratchet straps ever since I bought it. So it won't be that hard to get it off. I just need a buddy, or I could use my lift if I want to rearrange everything. But I'm gonna try to get a couple people over here at some point, help me set the bed on the ground, and then we'll get this thing taken off. Now I'll have to do that kind of smartly, make sure it's not in the way of getting the axles in and out. But I think it'll be a lot easier with the bed off. So I'm gonna kind of redirect next time I work on this thing and try to get that bed off. So we'll see if that's what I do next. I got a few other things I gotta do. I got new tires in for my kid's four-wheeler, little Honda 70 from 1986. And my wife's car still needs the other side done. I did one side of her front suspension that was making noise, didn't sound right. Her strut was bad, hub was sounding a little funny. Did the driver's side, still need to do the passenger side, and then get it all realigned. So with that, excited to get the matching set of axles under here so I can get it out, get it sandblasted, painted black and everything, and also get the steering figured out on here. Welcome back to the truck house. Today my wife and kids are playing outside, and I'm looking at my steering options for this crew cab long bed F350 that I'm full drive swapping with old Highboy steering parts. So I've got leaf spring installed under here from the front axle. I still need to do the rear axle. I'll get into that here in a minute, but I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to steer this thing, because the old two-wheel drive steering box was right here on the back, and all the steering stuff went behind the front end, just like the one I have up on the lift here. But that's obviously not gonna work with the four-wheel drive solid axle up there. All the steering stuff's on the front. So I've been looking into it, have a few different options. We'll get back into it when I decide on something, but I need to put some kind of steering box right here and either do crossover steering and kind of modify this to attach on this side, or do the normal like push-pull pitman arm and drag link situation where it just goes back and forth right there, similar to what's on my square body Chevy, and they did for a long time with all these solid axle trucks. So we'll get into that once I've kind of figured that out a little bit more. But basically my options are use newer Super Duty steering box stuff and kind of weld in a bracket for it, or 78 to 79 Ford like F250 steering would be a pretty good upgrade as well. I've also seen you can use a two-wheel drive setup if you mount it vertically, a little bit different than what it is right now. You can see the two-wheel drive one, maybe if this lighting is up in here. So there's the pitman arm and then kind of the whole drag link setup here, but you can mount one of these vertically right up here in the front and then either use that push-pull method for the factory setup or do a crossover to the other side that way. So looking into my options there, still gonna have to kind of commit to something and either buy a pump, a gearbox I mean, or a kit. But one thing I've kind of come to the conclusion of is that my two-wheel drive Bumpside crew cab short bed right here, this whole frame that's sitting out here, that's gonna be my donor engine. This thing's got power steering already. So this one has the two-wheel drive power steering gearbox on it that I could use if I wanted to. So that thing's right there, super leaky. You can see the old rag joint. So got lots of options. I might try to use what I have, might buy an upgrade. I might even upgrade the same stuff that I have and just get it remanufactured through like Redhead steering gear. Y'all let me know what you would do though. Would you just remanufacture what I got or just buy a whole kit from somebody, spend a little more money? Now what I want to do is take this transfer case crossmember off. In my last video, I dropped down this transfer case. Kids came to check on me, but we've got the transfer case out of this thing. This is like a all-wheel drive type transfer case, not as strong as the MP205 that I have sitting on the floor in the shop and I'm putting in it, that you take in and out of full drive. This one, I believe, is an all-time full drive setup, which is pretty strong, but not as good as what I would like to do with the MP205, which is really well known. But this has a unique cross member for the full drives that holds this up. So I need to steal this and put it on my two-wheel drive frame. So I'm gonna try to take out the rivets that hold it in and get this thing off of here. Then I can take this axle out and pretty much have everything I need off of this frame. Hopefully, I may end up stealing some of this stuff for the steering, but this steering setup you can see on the full drive has all these hydraulic connections on it, and what this would do is sense when you're steering with a pressure valve here on the actual drag link, and then that would send fluid through these hoses over to the axle where it had a hydraulic assist on it, which those have all kinds of problems, leak a lot, real pain, and then it's not really the same design of frame, so I would have to drill a big hole in the frame there and then it wouldn't fit right. It would just be a lot of work just to reuse this and then have to spend a bunch of money on resealing it. So probably not going to go that route, and that's why I'm still debating on what to do there. But let me go ahead and get these rivets out, see if we can get this cross member out and find anything else I need before I take this axle out and drop the frame down onto the trailer. When this starts getting a little dull, just come in here to the old belt and disc sander. So as you can see, I got all the rivets out and this thing is moving around, but it's wedged in there pretty tight. I may be able to cut the corners off a little bit, get rid of some material and twist it out, but I might have to either remove this cross member and that one and get it all the way out the back, or yeah, something like that, or at least open it up enough to get it out, because this thing fits in here tightly. They put it in before they riveted the frame fully together, so I don't know if it'll come out or not. Y'all stay tuned, see if we can get this thing out of here. Woo! Got that one off. The other one's being a pain still, but getting there. I've got the quality assurance team out here making sure all my hardware is good to go. What do y'all think? Is this thing gonna work or what?
No.
Now that QA's been out here, I've got my typical sketchy double jack setup going on here to get enough height to pick this thing up. So once I get the weight off of it, I'm going to try to pull these bolts out, what's left of them, and this one, take the nut off and get this one out, and then we can get this axle out. Now I just noticed that the brakes seem to be locked up. We did push this thing around with the tractor and it rolled, but I think under normal conditions it doesn't roll very smooth right now, so I have to figure that out. But I did move it a little bit this way, rolled it just barely forward to hopefully get this axle out from under it here, and then set the frame down, and then hopefully roll the axle over top of it if I can get it down low enough. Y'all wish me luck on that, we'll see. But I'd like to roll it all the way over this way off the front, right over the top of the frame. I don't know if that's going to work or not, especially with the brakes potentially locked up. It's going to want to tumble the whole thing, so I might end up taking the wheels off and taking the brakes apart to get them freed up, but hoping not to have to get that far into it yet, because obviously I just want to slap this underneath there and then go through the brakes and everything after I paint it. But we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, they're hard at work. I've got my social media manager here, as well as my behind the scenes mechanic that actually does all the work while I'm asleep. So really thankful to have them around. A little behind the scenes there of Grapaholics. So I'm working all 3 jacks to get this at just the right height, and because the brakes are locked up, hopefully be able to pull this thing on the jack and roll it out from underneath the frame. So I've got it at a height where I think it has a little bit of pressure, not too much on the bolts, so I'm going to try to hammer them out and see if we have any luck with that. So that's as far as that'll go. I'll need something to kind of punch it through, but I'm going to try this too and see if that does anything. Kinda. The old pickle fork. Alright, it seems pretty loose. Could probably spin that out. But yeah, you get the idea now. Maybe I have enough head hit that way. Nope. It's hard to do with one hand. But that's kind of what I got going on here, trying to get these bolts out. There's one of them out, so you can see that's sitting pretty flush, pretty level there. So I think I got my weight just right. I'm gonna keep doing it like that. The other 2 came out really easy, having been cut. This is the last one that's cut. Let's see if this one's gonna cooperate as well. What you think, Hank? Is it gonna come out? Just this a little bit. Hit it for me one time. Hit it right here. Yeah, hit that part. See if we can hit it. Hit the shiny part.
Shiny part.
Yeah, hit the wrench.
Hit the wrench.
Hit it. Bam! Bam! Keep hitting it. Hit it one more time. Bam! Oh, there we go. I think we got it. All right. Now let's get this piece in here. Look at that. Look at that. We almost got it. We'll put that on there, and then maybe we can. It ain't coming out. Here, let's try the pickle fork trick again. Okay, we're gonna do this here. Watch this. Here, take that wrench off.
Yeah.
Yep, go like this. Hold the wrench for me. All right, then we'll just put this on here. Here, you hit it. Yeah. Try hit it. Yep, that's right. Just like that. So it's not cooperating. Should have got my smaller pickle fork. This one feels like it's got more weight on it. Let me jack it up a little bit. I'm just beating up this truck till it cooperates. What are you doing? There we go. You want to pull this bolt out? There we go. All right, all the bolts are out. Now this thing should be pretty easy to manipulate. Hopefully I can pry it up out of here and then roll it back. After doing the nighttime routine with the family out here again, about sunset, and we are going to take this axle out here. You can see it's settled a little bit, and I've already got this piece here below the actual mount. So I'm going to try to finagle it up out of here and kind of twist it, bring it out behind and underneath the frame, and then lower the frame down. And like I mentioned before, I might try to get it over the whole frame, but it doesn't really want to roll right now. I think the brakes are locked up, so I may change that, may stand it up on one end, which would make it leak, I'm sure. So we'll see how the axle seals are and everything. So either taking the brakes apart or I'll get lucky. We'll figure it out, but I got to get it over to that truck, and there's a frame in the way, or any combination of these parts trucks, the trailer itself, it's all kind of in the way. So let's see if we can figure this out. It's being balanced on that one point of that jack on top of the other jack, remind you. So see how this goes. Alright, it's kind of leaning to one side. Here's what I'm working with. Got this one up out of here, using a tire spoon, by the way, and then this one's below. Same thing on the other side. So I'm trying to get this out from under here, which this side needs to come down to get around that way, and this side can't really go too far up without hitting that. So it kind of looks like I might need to go forward, up, and then back and out, and then it can like tilt more this side up. So see if that makes sense. I'm going to try to accomplish that. That was scary. Look, it's rolling. That's very, very helpful. Very sketchy. Yep, this side's locked up. So I'm about to try to lower this thing down, and I can see it's going to hit a little bit here and a little bit more as it comes down. So That'll probably tilt the axle, but it might work out fine. Not too sure how that's gonna go, so let's check it out. All right, so we're hitting the axle now. You can see I've extended the wheelbase by about 4 feet, so we got the rear axle way out here now. We could just add some frame and have ourselves a long bed crew cab. But really, we're just gonna wait till this thing kind of slowly falls off of here. It's trying to twist the axle this way, but since this brake is locked up, the grip of the tire is kind of holding it up right now because it doesn't want to, you know, pivot without that brake released. So, I mean, it's kind of killing two birds with one stone. If I help it, hopefully it will break that rusty brake or release that rusty brake and then fall down. I don't think there's anything that's going to be caught under it. I've tried my best to stay out from under it, and you can see we're just slowly coming down, or it's just kind of bouncing around a little bit, but it is just hanging on by a thread there at this point. We'll see what it does. It would be great if it came down nicely and released that brake, but I'm not holding my breath on that. I'm going to kind of mess with it a little bit from back here where it's a little safer. Be careful not to get near this because it could fly up and smack me in the head, but going to try to get it to drop down the rest of the way, and like I said, try to roll over top of it if I'm lucky. Oh, the tire's skidding. There we go, getting somewhere. All right. Now that I know only one side is locked up, the other side's just a little rough, I'm gonna try to get my transmission jack, which has this flat plate on it here, underneath the locked up side and try to roll it all the way down the length of the trailer while the other side slowly rolls with it. And I'm hoping I got the ground clearance. Whoa, there's a trailer tongue right there. Almost fell down. Hopefully I got the ground clearance to get all the way over there. Might be tight down here, but I'll have the jack under it, so maybe that'll work out. We'll see. Definitely not gonna clear that, but I can move that. We'll see. Hopefully this works out. So it wants to tip a lot. I'm thinking maybe I run a strap to the jack and this tire to kind of hold the axle straight while I roll it, and then see if that works, because otherwise it's just gonna flip-flop back and forth. Like that. One foot at a time. Come on, baby, let's go. I'm scratching my pretty trailer. Will it flip? I think we might have to make it into a rock crawler. My idea all along, freaking convertible, 4-door Blazer.
And it don't that come out everywhere, man. I don't know, so need man run out there. I don't know if he Chuck Mangione gonna be come down here.
They're gonna boom, man. Well, I'd call that a success with one minor inconvenience. It's now upside down, but I think I can use the jack and flip it back over. But we got that thing off the trailer. I honestly think that went better than I expected. Kind of had a vision for it, a couple different ideas, and that's the one I went with. So let's see if I can flip this thing over. It's off the trailer and it's really close to the new frame, the new truck. Hopefully we can get this thing all mounted up and get this Dana 70 out of here, which I'd like to keep and put on my square body Suburban for the rock crawling rig. This Dana 60 right here with 410 gears is going to match the Dana 44 that I already put in the front of this thing. Here's a quick recap of the front end. You can see my son left this ratchet here earlier. I just saw that. That's funny. But he knew that I just installed those recently, so he wanted to help out with that. He's also put some of my hardware in random places. I'll probably be finding that for a while now. Good thing I bought 100 of them. But anyway, got the Dana 44 mounted from that frame out on the trailer. This thing is all in place, still figuring out the steering, but feeling really good now about getting this other axle under it and having a full drive matching set of 410 gears. As you can tell, I'm super safe, so safety first. I got my Brunt composite toe omens on. This is keeping me safe out here, but be a little bit safer than me and you'll be all right. There we go. Look at that. Easy does it. Sledgehammer acting as a jack stand, and just in case the bed comes back down. But you can see I got the wrench in there almost straight up and down with that little bit of gap there, about an inch between the bed and the frame now. If it falls, it'll only fall an inch, but I got that wrench in there now. I'm gonna try to get that final bolt out and see if I can get this Dana 70 out of here. All right, after a ton of fighting this thing and jacking the bed up with a sketchy board situation, getting the wrench up under there, getting that last bolt out, we've got the rear end jacked up real high, all the bolts out for this Dana 70. Let's see if we can get it out. All right, pretty close. All right, she's out of the shop. Thing rolled so easy, it about ran me over. And we got the axle sitting here. That was my goal for the evening. It'd be nice to have a tractor where I could have lifted the frame up and all that, but we made it work. A little bit of balance of, you know, backyard work and having a full shop. So ultimately, we'll get this thing in here underneath the frame and have matching set front and rear. Cannot wait. So y'all stay tuned. I want to thank y'all so much for watching. Check out grappleholics.com. We have all kinds of shirts, decals, air fresheners, hats, all kinds of cool stuff if you like the Nitto Grappler tires. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those popular pages, so y'all check them out.